Amigos, estamos en el booth de Sig Sauer, aquí en el SHOT Show. Por favor, acompáñenme a ver todas las novedades que tiene el booth. Es enorme, la iluminación, todo muy bonito. Están las armas, está la munición. Acompáñenme. Aquí en el booth de Sig Sauer podemos encontrar muchas armas icónicas, pero no hay ninguna más icónica que la Sig P226. El modelo más reciente de la P226 es la Legión. Sabemos que es muchísimo más ergonómica y además, miren, ese color no se confunde con nada. El color Legion, ustedes ya saben. Miren qué belleza, qué linda arma. Flat trigger, belleza, belleza. Muy bien amigos, estamos con Phil Strader, el experto de Sig Sauer en pistolas, y ahorita nos va a dar una entrevista y nos va a explicar un poco más acerca de las pistolas. Phil, it's such an honor you having us here. There's some guns here which we know, but these ones are different. So
yes.
What can you tell us about this? This is the X5 Legion?
Yes, so we've got a few guns here, and obviously throughout the year we have introduced a lot of new firearms, but these are the first time that these are actually being seen at SHOT Show.
Yeah.
So the X5 Legion, this is our flagship model of the 320, and it's also our heaviest model of 320. And we released this pistol about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And it is our best-selling 320 model, and it weighs 43.5 ounces. And we were actually able to get tungsten powder, or heavy metal powder, into the mix of polymer. So when this grip is molded and poured into the mold, it's actually a tungsten poly blend material, which means it's extremely heavy, but it also has a little bit of flex, so you don't lose that softness of recoil, and you also get much lower muzzle flip. And compared to our competitors at $8.99, this gun offers more shooting ability and more features than our competition that have guns that are twice as expensive.
Yes.
So this is probably the best bang for your buck as a competitive shooter, and as a person who just wants to go to the range and shoot better because the gun doesn't recoil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's why this is our best-selling gun. We've sold more of these guns than there are competitive shooters. So we have no doubt that that's why these guns are doing so well, is because everyone wants a gun that shoots better. And of course it has all the X5 features. It's got the flat trigger. It actually has a lighter trigger on this gun by a bit. It's about a 3.5, 4 pound trigger as opposed to a 5 or 6 pound on the original X5. And of course it has a guide rod system in there. This is a stainless steel one-piece guide rod, and it uses 1911 springs, so you can spring up or down your gun depending on the ammo you use. So if you shoot competition ammo or light loads, or you reload your own ammo and it's lower pressure, then you can just go to get a 1911 12-pound spring and put it in the gun, and it runs. Actually, this gun comes with a 14-pound in the gun and a 12-pound spring in a box, so you can custom tune it what you have in the box. Yeah, so super happy with the way this gun's been performing, but we're also promoting a new movement here at Sig Sauer this year, and we're calling it the Red Dot Revolution. And it's what that is we are now, especially on the polymer side of things, we are now offering most of our pistols either optic ready or optic equipped. And of course the X5 Legion is optic ready. The sight plate comes off, you can put an optic right on it, but these guns come with the optics on them already out of the factory. Now this is our 320 X Compact Romeo 1 Pro. Now we've made the X Compact for about a year. It's been very popular. It's one of our better selling 320s, but the rear sight plate assembly, much like the X5 Legion, would come off as a unit, and then when you put the optic in its place, you would lose that rear sight, which meant it was harder to co-witness with the front. So we took care of that by mounting the Romeo 1 Pro here and then dovetailing the front and rear sights in. So these are suppressor height sights. They will co-witness with this optic. Even if you put a shroud around this optic, it'll lift up a little bit, but it'll still co-witness. And of course it has all the 320X compact features you love. It's very controllable, very compact, but it holds 16 rounds of 9mm ammunition, and it shoots great But we didn't stop there. We for our most popular pistol, which is the P365. Now this gun has taken the gun market by storm. This is our most popular model. The P365 has completely surpassed our expectations. Now this is an X series model.
Yeah.
This is the 365 XL. It's a very popular model. It's slightly longer on the grip, slightly longer in the slide, but the standard gun comes with a sight plate assembly that pops off and you can put an optic in its place. This is the XL Romeo Zero. This gun comes with the Romeo Zero installed on the gun right out of the box.
Okay.
Now, yes, you lose the rear sight, like we were talking about before. However, there is a notch. There's a notch in the housing of the sight that actually will co-witness pretty well with the front sight that comes on the gun.
Can I see it?
Absolutely. So at realistic distances where you would normally be shooting at 10, 15 yards, it will still co-witness even if the dot goes out. Now it comes with a Romeo Zero, our new optic. It's a 3 MOA optic, has a smaller dot on it, smaller screen, more concealable, and it actually makes carrying a red dot more realistic for someone who wants to carry a concealed gun. Because usually it's just been a competition thing or someone who doesn't care so much about sizing and have a big gun. Now you can have a concealable package with a red dot optic on it right out of the box. And sky's the limit at this point. As popular as this sight is becoming, and as popular as all red dot sights are coming, we're going to start expanding this line even more.
All right, I have a question right now. When you draw the weapon, let's pretend I appendix carry.
Mm-hmm.
When I draw it, isn't it a little difficult to look for the red dot?
It is at first.
Okay.
Shooting a red dot optic isn't something you can just pick up and do. Now, if you have time, it will make you a better shot because there's less to do. You just put the dot on the target and pull the trigger. But learning where that extension point is and learning exactly what you're supposed to be looking for to find that dot, it does take a little bit of practice. It does take a little repetition, some dry fire practice, going out on the range and just practicing that extension. But one of the nice things about this sight is that it's so low, there's such a small, short housing in the back that the dot is actually just over the slide. So there's not a lot of learning curve there to try to figure out that, some optics sit up so high that you have to hold the gun a little lower than you normally would.
Yes.
This one you can actually, at natural extension, the dot's pretty close to being there, but it still takes practice. It's nothing that you can say or do that's going to make it easy to go right out of the box. So you're going to have to get the gun out on the range and practice with it to be able to find that dot a little bit faster. But once you do, and if you're in a situation where that gun has to go in front of your face, you are an automatic advantage. Your shots are going to become much easier to make with a red dot there because there's no sight alignment to deal with. So, yeah, it's a great system. We couldn't be happier, and we think the more guns we put out there that either have red dots on them or are able to accept red dots, then I think that will become more attainable for people out there, and they're going to start liking shooting red dots more. So that's why we're starting it.
I like it a lot, not just because it's better, but in the aesthetics field, it looks just it looks pretty.
Yeah. You're going to see guns, and we've already seen a couple guns in the market, namely one, but there are going to be guns out there that are going to try to catch up with the foundation that we laid when we first introduced this gun. We broke a lot of people's spirits when we came out with a pocket pistol that carried 10 rounds or more.
Yeah.
So there are going to be other companies that play catch up, but because there was nothing to measure against, we were able to do everything we wanted to do to this gun to make sure that we had the most refined package out there, and this is no exception. The 365 and the 365 XL are some of the best feeling guns out there. Not just the way they feel in your hand, but the way they shoot for the size. And as every other company is still going to be playing catch up, not just by the capacity and the size, but just by the way the gun feels. They're going to be rushing them out, and they're not going to have the time or the effort to really put into it. And by that time they do, they're going to be so far behind, we might be thinking of the next gun.
Yeah. 9mm, subcompact and microcompact tend to be a little snappy, and these are just amazing to shoot.
Yes.
Really soft. The follow-up shots are just amazing.
Yes, definitely. We couldn't be happier.
All right, is there something else you would like to say to our Guatemalan audience?
Well, we just would say that, be safe out there. If you get a chance to look at SIGs or get a chance to shoot them, we know you won't be disappointed, and adios.
esta nena es la que usa John Wick en la mayoría de la película. Esta es la MPX en configuración de rifle. Hasta tiene la misma mira, tiene todo. Exactamente así fue como la utilizó John Wick. Y aquí está para ustedes, señores. Jóvenes, estamos con Lina Miculek. Ella es campeona de tiro con escopeta. Estoy súper nervioso porque miren, ella es una estrella, es una leyenda. Lina, it's such an honor being here with you. What do you feel? What's it like?
The spawn of a shooting god?
Yeah.
It feels about like I feel like having any other father would be. I didn't know that people didn't travel around the world shooting all the time until I was older, and I was like, what, you don't do this every day? But no, it's really great. Obviously, we compete a lot together and we train together. We butt heads all the time, and that's what makes us good together.
Nice.
Because we are always just on each other to be better, and it works out real well.
All right, so I was watching another interview, and you said you were born at the range.
Yes, I was physically born on a shooting range and grew up and spent 21 years on one. Shootout Lane. I live next to the custom gun shop down the range from the shooting range. So yeah, lead runs through these veins, whether I want it or not.
Nice. And well, what do you do right now? What are you doing right now?
Right now, actually, I broke my wrist last September mountain biking, and I just got out of my cast a week ago. I don't know if I'm going to have to go back into one. I hope not, but mainly getting this recovered, and then this year I'll be focusing on PCC 2021 Shotgun World Shoot.
Yeah. So you have a couple of world records of shotgun shooting, right?
Yes, I have 3 undefeated world titles in IPSC shotgun, a rifle, PCC. There's 8 of them. Then in different things. I don't remember.
You guys can look it up in the internet,
Yeah,
the
it's on
interwebs.
It's on my Instagram. It says it. I'd have to look and see.
Well, aquí en el booth de Sig Sauer podemos encontrar cosas como estas. Esto es el Smart Shooter. Esto lo que tiene es que es un sistema de cámaras que proyecta acá. Night Vision, también tiene un Red Dot, tiene un sistema que detecta objetivos. Los detecta, los marca y los elimina. Esto es tecnología de punta, solo con Sig Sauer, por supuesto, sobre un rifle Sig Sauer. ¿Qué más podían esperar? Amigos, ahorita estamos con Daniel, que es parte del Team Sig, pero él es el embajador de cacería. Daniel, tell us just a little bit about yourself, how you started hunting, when did you start hunting?
Okay, hey, my name is Daniel Horner. I grew up on the East Coast of the U.S. and started hunting when I was about 6 years old, carrying a gun. I was hunting squirrels and ducks and rabbits and things like that. And as I grew up, I began to hunt deer and other animals. I'm a competitive shooter for a living, so I started competing when I was 12 years old, and through the competitions, I began to do more hunting further around the U.S. I joined the Army when I was 19 years old and was in the Army for 13 years, and just got out while I was in the Army. I did a lot of the sniper school, a lot of sniper competitions, things like that, and that has kind of helped me in the hunting world to be able to ethically take the animals and things like that. So, and I joined Team Sig about a year ago. Yep.
What skills should a hunter have?
I think the most important skill is to know what you and your gear are capable of as far as making a good ethical shot where when you shoot the animal it dies immediately or very, very quickly. You don't wound the animal, so making sure that you have a very good zero on your rifle. You're very confident in what you can do and where you should shoot and where to actually shoot the animal. And then making sure that you maintain your guns and your equipment and yourself to be able to do what you're looking to do out in the woods.
All right, so what skills should we improve or to practice more?
So one thing I tell hunters a lot is when you're in sniper school, a huge aspect of it is the camouflage and concealment. And basically what you learn is that what's in front of you isn't very important. It's what's behind you when you're trying to camouflage yourself. So look at where you think the animal's going to be and look directly behind you, because if I looked like whatever is behind me, then I would be invisible, because you would seem like you could see through me, right? So if you and look at the vegetation and the environment as far as the level, right? So if I look at the ground, there's certain types of grass. If I look from a foot to 3 feet, there's certain types of vegetation, and then from 3 feet above, generally there's different types of vegetation depending on the height. So if you think you're going to be in one position or the next, you need to replicate that type of environment as a generality. Yeah, one thing I love is I take rubber bands, and I'll just put rubber bands around my arms or around my tripod or gear, and then whenever I get where I'm going, I look like, okay, I'm hunting animals that are probably going to come out here. I look behind me, and then I take the vegetation from that area and stick it in the rubber bands, and then yeah, it works extremely well.
And it's really cheap. You don't have to invest a lot of money in really fancy camouflage.
Nope. Go out and just normal camo pants and camo top, and then throw a couple rubber bands on, and can pretty much sneak up on anything.
All right, another thing really important while hunting, it's scent.
Yes, yeah, obviously the wind, the direction of the wind, that's your number one thing. A lot of the animals rely on their sense of smell as their first alarm, you know, so you need to be quiet, obviously, so you're not making a lot of noise, but it doesn't matter what orientation they're in, you know, how loud or how quiet it is, they're always smelling. So obviously the first thing you want to keep in mind is which direction that wind's blowing.
Okay, another thing that's really important is that when you're going to the hunting grounds, there's like birds and there's other animals who are an alarm for other animals.
Yeah, so when you're dealing with other animals, something that's acting kind of like a sentry, something that's alerting the rest of the environment to a disturbance, most of the time you're not going to be able to defeat that or bypass that. You're going to have to just get into position and then try to be as still and as quiet as possible so that they don't notice you there and they go back to their normal behavior. So,
is there something you'd like to add to our Guatemalan audience?
Man, I just appreciate the time, appreciate you watching this, and hopefully I can get down there one day.
Esta es la pistola Rattler. Esta es calibre 223 o 5.56 y mírenla, está en la configuración pistola porque es el cañón más pequeño. Esto simple y sencillamente es la cosa más bella que he visto el día de hoy. Mírenla, qué linda, chiquitita, bonita, preciosa. Señores, aquí me encuentro con Max Mitchell. Él es campeón de speed shooting y también es competidor para Team Sig Sauer. No saben lo emocionado que estoy. It's such an honor meeting you. Just have a couple of questions. How does it feel being so fast in the trigger?
You know, it's a lot of fun. I've been doing this since I was just a little boy. I started shooting competitively when I was 8 years old. And I'm from Louisiana, and down there we like to go fast. We talk fast, we shoot fast, we drive fast. So it's an honor to do what I do. I love what I do, but it's a lot of work, but I do enjoy it.
Okay, a lot of fans ask us for the P320. How is it better than other guns?
The P320 to me is the best gun that I can use for what I do. And the reason why that is because it's developed so much over the years. We have such a great group of engineers here at Sig Sauer that provide me with the best equipment. When I go on the range, I not only feel that my body is ready to go, but I feel like my gear is ready to go, and I feel like I have the best equipment. And why that is again, because we never settle. We continue to get better all the time. So we had the 320, then we went to the X5, which is a full 5-inch version, different grip, kind of more competition feel with a flat trigger, adjustable sights. And then we went to the X5 Legion, which now is the heavier version, and it makes it so incredibly easy to shoot. It's so soft, there's very little muzzle flip, and extremely accurate. So I do believe our product is the best because our guys put in the time and they take the feedback from myself and the rest of the team.
Okay, at what age did you start shooting?
I started shooting when I was 5 years old, and yeah, man, it was crazy, and started competing when I was 8.
Competing when you were 8?
8 years old, competing man-on-man steel challenge competitions where you have a plate rack, I have a plate rack, and whoever knocks down the targets first is the winner. So that's how I learned how to go fast, because if I didn't knock my targets down before you, then I would lose. And so yeah, I started shooting at a very young age.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about your military career.
Yeah, so I spent just a little over 10 years in the Army. The United States Army was a great place for me. I went in at just 17 years old, and again, I got out about 10 years later, and I was a part of the U.S. Army Marksmanship Unit. So what we did there is, number one, our mission was to compete and win. We wanted to show the rest of the world that the U.S. Army was the absolute best military force out there on the planet. So we did that, and in 2001, everybody has their own war story and their own 9/11 story, and the global war on terrorism started, right? So we had to change our focus from competition to more training and giving back to the Army. So it was at that moment I knew that I was there to do something a lot more than just shoot alphas and knock down steel. So I was able to take all the things that I've learned over all the years of training since 8 years old to the soldiers and relay that information to them and bring them back home to their families. So my time in the Army, I was spending a lot of time winning competitions, but primarily I truly enjoyed giving back and making sure the soldiers were well protected.
Okay, so back to competing. What can you tell us to improve our speed overall in competition, or maybe just the draw, the changing mags, the fundamentals? What can we do to be better, to be like you?
Yeah, I mean, I get that question all the time. How do I shoot faster and still hit the targets? The number one way to do that is work on your stance and grip. It's what I call recoil management. A lot of people don't want to work on that because it's kind of boring. It's not as fun as shooting while moving and shooting activating targets, but the fact of the matter is, if you can't shoot at a high rate of speed with what I call acceptable accuracy, which is about a softball-sized group, if your group is getting outside of that softball-sized group, then you don't have the proper platform. So you want to make sure your stance is wide, offset slightly with your knees bent. I always like to say push my hips back and my chest forward, just pushing weight into the gun. You're trying to find ways, everybody's going to be a little different, but you're trying to find ways to have a mechanical advantage on the pistol before it lifts in recoil. So wide platform, as I say, hips back, chest forward, and make sure you have a good grip on the gun as well, getting as high as possible on that gun and creating leverage on the pistol, taking your support hand, placing at a 45-degree angle downward. That's going to give you that torque and that leverage of locking the wrist into place. So you're going to get better recoil management because of that. And once you get that recoil management, now you can shoot faster and still be successful because you can see your sights that much sooner. You're not just shooting fast to be fast, you're shooting fast because you're seeing faster. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, bang, bang,